You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to the show. It is National, did you know that it's National Do Nothing Day? Or National Nothing Day? And why wouldn't there be a day like that, you know? What it should be is National Richard Goes to Get a Haircut Day, because I don't know what's going on here. But I think this weekend is the weekend that this hair comes off. Let's see, it's so many things today, but not really. I really actually don't have anything to tell you, so we're going to get into the show quickly. But I will tell you that there's a new episode of the Wolf Media Fest podcast that I co-host. It is out now wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. And if you're this entire show today is all about creators, and so I'm excited. So if you are a creator, check out the Wolf Media Festival. Submit your work, and it's literally anything from podcasts to I would say TikTok videos, but apparently not. And board games, tarot cards, literature, movies. It's a great festival that you should be submitting your work for. But anyway, here's a clip from this week's episode.
And then a couple weeks went by, and you let things go as an actor. You don't expect you really honestly I mean, I've talked to many successful actors. The joy is the audition. That's the way you really have to look at it. I tell young actors this all the time. It's enjoy the audition. That's your opportunity to act. You have no control after that. Just enjoy the fact that you got to bring yourself to a character today, and you got a chance to act, right? Because you love acting, right? So if you love it, then the audition is the win. And you never know where that goes. Maybe you're not right for that part, but you get in for another one. Anyway, for this one, a couple weeks went by, and I got reached back out to by Brandon and Eden, and they wanted to put me on a Zoom call like this, and go through the scene together and kind of work it a few times. Ironically, I was out of town. I was at my mom's house. I was like, "Mom, be quiet. I'm in the other room. This is a big, this is a producer session." And she's like, "What's a producer session?" I'm like, "Mom, just please," and I'm worried about I'm in Virginia. And so I'm sort of yeah, exactly. I'm shh, and I'm worried that the internet's going to cut out. Da, 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 da.
The Wolf Media Fest podcast is out now with Matt, and go get it wherever you get your podcasts. It's also Throwback Thursday, and this picture is from 2013 that I'm about to show you. And this little guy just got his driver's license. My little nephew, Davian, who just turned 16. He was born on Christmas. And that's us at my grandma's house in 2013. And he has his driver's license. Insanity. I tell you, insanity. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's our show, or that's our show. That's the beginning of the show. Now let's get to the show. Like I said, this episode is all about creativity. So we've got Susan Murry here, who has an app that you can download, upload your videos, people vote, you can win money. And then we also have Scott Edwards, who's a comedy legend, who also has some pretty cool stuff that you can get involved with to get your talents out there that are coming up this year. So are you ready? Let's do this. My first guest has created a platform for talented people to shine from the comfort of their own homes. Imagine being able to showcase your skills, win cash prizes, and gain exposure all through a mobile app. Please welcome the creator of the Top Cat Talent Show app, Susan Murry. Susan.
Hello. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
I think let's all clap for Susan. If we're gonna, then they'll clap for you, I promise, and tell you how amazing they are. Okay, I want to talk about the app. It's called the Top Cat Talent Show. Is that the app title?
The app title is TK Talent Show.
Okay. Where did this idea come from?
Oh, wow. I had the idea since 2006, but I've been into talent shows. Well, got kind of started when I was a kid. It was like seven of us, seven siblings, and we used to put on a family talent show.
Oh my gosh.
So you would get booed, you would get cheered, or
Wow.
whatever. And that just led me into loving talent shows. And then when rap started coming out, I started writing lyrics, my own lyrics, and then I started rapping, rap with a couple of groups. Then I started a solo career. Then I started putting on talent shows. So I've always had a love for talent shows.
So I have a question. When you were a kid and doing your own talent shows, what was your talent of choice?
Usually singing, but then when rapping hit the scene, I was always rapping.
Did you ever like write music?
Yes, well,
Oh.
not notes or anything, but lyrics. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I've always written lyrics.
Okay, so tell everybody about the app and who you're looking for.
Well, the app is called again TK Talent Show, and it's a platform for undiscovered and independent artists for any kind of entertainment. Whether you're a singer, dancer, rapper, comedian, magician, anything. If you write poems, if you draw,
Talk show host.
talk show host, yep, this platform is for you. This platform is for
Yes.
you. Yes. And what happens is users they can join the contest for less than $5 a month, and they upload their video, let viewers vote for them, and the video with the most votes at the end of the week wins.
Oh wow.
Now, depending on which subscription you're in, if you're in the $1.99 a week subscription, then you win 20 cents up to $50 a week. And if you're in the yearly membership, you win 50 cents for each vote up to $100 a week. So this is for anybody that wants to kickstart their career or wants to restart their career. If you're older and you used to sing or you used to dance or rap and you want to get back out there and grow your fan base, then this is the platform for you.
When did it launch?
It we launched like maybe a year ago, but I
Okay.
just started really. I'm still adding different things to it, and we're really like starting to advertise this month.
Is it available on both for Android and
Yes,
Apple? Okay,
Android
cool.
and Apple. Yes.
Can you tell us about some of the talent that you're discovering on the app?
I've seen a lot of singers. I've had puppeteers, but you can sit at your own home and upload your video and start your career.
If I'm the talent and I go on there, to go on, who's judging? Just the random person who downloads the app? Are they also paying, or how does that work?
The random people, yep, the audience, the viewers, they vote for you. But you can also share your video on your social media platforms to your fans, your family, your friends. Tell them to vote for you, and if you get the most votes, you win.
Where did this idea, like, to have an app like that? That's so interesting.
I thought about it, like I said, in 2006, but technology really wasn't up to speed on my thoughts.
Hmm.
So I kind of like put it on the back burner, but I always thought about it would be so cool if people could just stay at their homes and show their talent and get paid for it.
Hmm.
And it's just been a dream of mine since 2006.
I'm curious if you had like the actual app, because I don't understand any of it, like the actual building of the app. Were you involved in that, or was that just like you hired someone else to do that?
Yes, I came up with the idea and I ended up finding a developer, and he took my concept and my ideas, whatever I wrote down or whatever I sent him, and he developed the app.
Oh, cool.
He came up with the how it was going. I came up with the concept and everything, but he was able to put the technology behind it.
And what's your dream for the app? Like, what are you hoping that it becomes?
I'm hoping that it becomes a platform where people can get discovered and rediscovered and have
Mm,
fun and interact with other talented people and try to win a weekly cash prize.
yeah.
Because I know when people are just starting out, you could upload your video. If you upload them already on social media, why not come to our platform and upload them and try to win cash money for
Yeah. Is there a talent that you wish you had or had learned at some point in your life?
them? Drums.
Me too. That's mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked the way people played the
Hmm.
drums and they could keep the rhythm and everything, and I just thought it was fascinating.
How come you never
Yes,
did it?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe that's something I'll do in the talent show.
There you go.
And we're also
Yeah.
going to have live talent shows as well on some
Oh
of the
wow.
platforms.
Like Star Search, American Idol,
Right,
stuff like that.
right.
Yeah.
We're going to have like on YouTube and TikTok. We're going to have like live shows where you can gain more followers and gain extra money.
Well, if you ever need a host for those, I think I know someone who would be
Oh,
interested.
okay. I might have to look you up on that.
Just saying, Ryan Seacrest is probably busy, so I mean
Yes.
that's best bet. Yeah. What do you love most about your life right now?
My grand sons. I have three
Mm.
grandsons. I call them my kings, and I have one on the way. He's going to be a boy too.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So that's the most exciting thing in my life right now is spending time with them and talking to them on the phone.
That's so
Yeah.
exciting. I love that you're building a community around that. You know, there are so many places online to throw out videos and do all of that, but you're really highlighting talent as opposed to just,
Yeah.
people who have the time to make crazy videos.
Right. Right.
I love
And
that.
we've had some videos on there that are crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Of
some
course.
people will vote for those as well. So
Yeah.
if you have a unique talent, a fire breather or a juggler or anything like that, feel free to come and join us.
I also love that it's no matter what age you are. I think that's great.
Yes, yes. A lot of people, older people, they feel like maybe they missed their shot. Well, they
Hmm.
can always join our contest and re kickstart their career.
Yeah, love it. The app is called TK Talent Show.
Yes.
I love it. Susan Murray, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I thank you for having me. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back with the hilarious Scott Edwards after this. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Welcome back, everyone. Get ready to laugh because our next guest has spent his career making America chuckle. This entrepreneurial spirit has done it all from owning a submarine to producing TV shows, but his true passion lies in the world of comedy. He's the man behind Laughs Unlimited, a chain of wildly successful comedy clubs, and he's worked with the biggest names in the business. I'm talking Ellen, Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Bob Saget, Dana Carvey. I mean, the list goes on and on. Please welcome the incredibly accomplished and hilarious Scott Edwards. Hello, sir.
Hey, great to be on this. Make your day. Oh, I'm so excited.
Listen, I'm excited to have you here because you have had quite a career, sir. How does it feel to be you? Let me start there.
Well, let me see how I feel. No, it's great to be me. I'm retired now, but I've had an exciting life. I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. Oh, and for those of you that missed it, I'm R. Scott Edwards from the comedy world. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Here, I
Down
can
and back.
wait.
Sit
Wait,
down and back.
listen, this is what I do every day. Wait, but I wasn't ready for this. So I can do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
crowd
yeah.
that's a little farther back.
Yeah. It's a big audience. So you do the front half of the audience, and I am in charge of the back half.
There you go. And then when things get slow, we bring in the kids.
Now we're on Sesame Street. I love it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as a lifelong entrepreneur, I've started over a dozen companies, but the reason I'm here today is I'm also a podcaster, and my biggest career out of my many companies was a chain of comedy clubs called Laughs Unlimited All Comedy Showroom. And I had a chance to work with some great people, but I've had a lot of companies. What makes your day richer, Richard?
Listen, this makes my day richer. I want to. How many clubs did you own? At what was the most you had at one time?
Well, comedy clubs, it was 3, but while I was operating those, I opened a couple restaurants. I had a couple art galleries. I did a jazz club, other businesses. Prior to that, I had a small construction company, used to spin records, those pieces of plastic
Those
that people
things.
could dance to. Yeah. And then later on, I had a travel agency. I did an insurance brokerage, and I owned a submarine, Richard. A lot of
Wait.
people could say that.
Wait. That was not in my notes. Otherwise, we would have started with that.
What about the beach shack in Hawaii? Come on, I was a young single guy. I had my own beach in Hawaii. It was exciting.
What did you? This is going to be a 3-part series, I'm pretty sure. What
submarine, is that what threw you?
I mean, yes, the submarine to construction to comedy clubs. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I was not a very bright kid. I didn't go do that well in school. I didn't go that far in school. I have a high school GED, but my only college was like sex ed classes. So I'm really a seat of the pants, self-made guy. I started my construction company when I was 17, and that taught me a lot about business. And then I went into spinning records, as I mentioned. And then at the tender age of 24, I opened the 12th full-time comedy club in the United States. And I built that up to a chain of 3 clubs. And then during that time, I was pretty flush with cash. It was the 80s. And that's when I opened the restaurants and had art galleries and did some fun stuff. I had a jazz club, just enjoying life.
What's something that you learned that you were like, I will never this is that I'll never do again? I was trying to put a positive spin on that.
Right. Well, no, I think that for any entrepreneur, you learn that losing is important. I've been pretty wealthy a few times in my life. I've been bankrupt a couple times in my life. I've started things. For example, the submarine was a huge financial loss, but it was really great fun. I think if there was any bottom line story to me, it was that whatever I was doing, I tried to have a good time doing it. There's no reason to drag yourself through life and not enjoy it. And so from a young age, I realized that win or lose, I was going to have a good time. So the submarine, I was part of a company, it's international, called Subsea Systems, and they had a product called Snuba. Some people may have seen it. It's all around the world. It's underwater snorkeling. And I was one of the owners of that company. And the guys that started that built a tourist submarine called the Nautilus One. And they flew me out to Hawaii to help them finish putting it together and help them on the initial marketing. And I said, wow, this is cool. I want one of those. So I invested a lot of money and a lot of time and built my own submarine, the Nautilus 4. And launched it in Monterey, California. But all the other subs that company built were in warm water areas like Hawaii and the Caribbean and stuff. I put mine in Monterey because I'm a California kid. And the problem was in Monterey, besides great pelagic fish and the sea life and the sea otters and the sea lions and all the kelp forest, which was beautiful, It's cold water is full of algae. And so the tourists, because it was a big full-size tourist submarine, were having trouble seeing things. So I actually had to pay a scuba diver to go along with the sub and keep the windows clean. So long story short, it was not a great financial investment. I as they say, lost my ass. But I owned a submarine for
fun.
2 years. Yeah, it was
What
a
a
lot of
story.
fun. I got a chance to drive it and work with the people, and we entertained. For the 2 years we were open, we did great. We ended up selling the submarine to the Wrigley Gum family, and they still operated out of Catalina Island in Southern California, where the water is much warmer and they don't have the problems and issues that I did. But getting back to your question, there's a lot of failures in when you get success. In fact, Emmett Stone once said, failures are the stepping stones to success. And anybody that's been an entrepreneur in business knows that there, for as many ups, there is as many downs.
This is true. I mean, and you've worked with such amazing people. You've worked with Jay Leno and Dana Carvey. Do you have a favorite business that you've started? Do you have like a favorite time of your life?
I can't say that I do, because I've had so many adventures. That's what I call the chapters of my life where I try different things. Obviously, the years owning the comedy club and working with Bob Saget and Dave Coulier and Robin Williams and Jay Leno and some of the people we mentioned was incredible. And again, a lot of fun. But I, took a lot of pride. One of the restaurants I opened was based on a barbecue sauce that I created, and built that up and ran it for 5 years and then sold it. I tend to start a business, build it up, and sell it. That's generally the smart thing to do. You have to have an exit plan. But my last company was an insurance brokerage, and even though that was less fun or less exciting, I've had a whole life of customer service, and I enjoy interacting with people and helping people solve problems. And so as an insurance broker, you're protecting families' assets and you're helping them through their toughest times. And there was a lot of gratification in that. And so even though it's totally different than comedy clubs or construction company, there was a lot that I was able to give and share, and I got out of it.
How long have you been retired? I say in quotes because you're still working.
Yeah, well, I'll probably never stop doing things. Now I'm a podcaster with 4 different podcasts, and I have a podcast network, the Stand Up Comedy Podcast Network, available on all Apple and Android phones. But hey, what is really important is that your 9 to 5 job. I was in customer service since, I started working when I was 10. Kid stuff. I had paper routes and mowing lawns and babysitting and stuff like that. Went to work in the real world at age 15, and then started my first company at 17. So I had an early young start. I sold my last insurance brokerage 2 years ago, stayed on as a consultant, stayed on as an employee for a year, then a consultant for a year, and just actually walked away from that last January. So this new retirement moment is a challenge for me. I don't have to jump out of bed and go do something. Most of the activities and business ventures these days are out of my home office. But I walked away from going 9 to 5 somewhere at age 70 earlier this year.
Wow. Well, congratulations, first of all.
Oh, well, thank you.
You've put in the work, sir. It is time. It is time to start 4 podcasts. And why not? Tell everybody about those podcasts and about your network.
Well, the Stand Up Comedy Podcast Network, which is a free app, as I mentioned, and also a website, is basically a place to showcase stand-up comedy. So there's several different podcasts either about or hosted by professional comics, but there's videos, jokes of the day, an online comedy course, some really fun stuff. But I got into podcasting. If you got time, I have a quick story on it, Richard. Yeah. I was winding down my entrepreneurial life, and I wrote a book. It took me a couple of years, kind of sharing some of my adventures. And I got done, and my wife turned to me and said, "No one's going to read your stupid book."
I love the support.
Yeah. She's very honest. And
We've
she
had
said,
many authors on here who are like, my husband is the reason why, or my wife is the reason why I wrote the book, and they were so supportive. And
mine was just the opposite. But she turned me on to something because she said, why don't you do a podcast? And I'm like, what's a podcast? Now, this is about 4 years ago, actually right before the pandemic. So I researched doing podcast. I do audio only podcast. My main one is called Stand Up Comedy, Your Host and MC. And that was because I was the MC of my own shows for over 20 years. I was producing live production shows. I had 3 TV series and did several concerts, but I always hosted. And so I was always introduced. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards. So my main podcast is that, and it's a celebration of stand-up comedy. One week I share stand-up comedy sets from professional comics, famous and not so famous. And also the next following week, I do interviews with industry leaders. And that's really been fun. Those are usually 40 minutes to an hour long. And I realized that might be too long for some people. So I did a short form podcast called Comedy Appetizers, which is short little 4 to 7 minute comedy sets. And those come out every Friday, and a great way to start your weekend. But what's interesting, I'm glad you asked, Richard, is that just recently, I really love children. I've got grandchildren and love neighborhood kids and do all that kind of stuff. I put together a children's podcast called Auk's Amazing Adventures. That's AAWK. Auk is the star. He's probably a 6-7-year-old little boy, and he goes on imaginative adventures. They all last 4 to 6 minutes. And Auk's Amazing Adventures has been a great way to share this great world that you and I are in called podcasting, and at the same time, entertain and educate children by getting them to use their imagination.
What would you say your first love is? Is it stand-up comedy? Is it?
Well, that's a great question, Richard. You ought to be a host.
Try
that. So I would say that for a man with little talent, I appreciate talent. My mom was an artist and a gardener and did a lot of things with her hands. Sadly, we lost her at a young age, but she taught me to appreciate those that have talent. And one of the things I most loved about owning the comedy clubs is that I was helping discover and develop comedy talent and other talents, ventriloquists, magicians, hypnotists, you name it, jugglers. They all worked for me. And part of my job as a club owner was to help provide a stage and guidance to young talent. Some of them went nowhere. Some of them ended up with a career in comedy, but never got what I call the golden ticket and got famous. But others, like Gary Shandling from the Larry Sanders Show and the Gary Shandling Show, he did a lot of movies. His very first road gig out of Phoenix, Arizona was my club. Paula Poundstone came out of Boston and did a lot of work at my club to kind of help develop her act. A very young Ellen DeGeneres worked my stage. And other people, Bob Saget, Dave Coulier, and go on and on. One of the fun ones, Jerry Seinfeld, was one of my regulars. And he got the Seinfeld show and he had to cancel a gig. Richard, he goes, hey, I got my own TV show. I'm out of here. And I go, that's why I'm here. Go for it. Congratulations. I think, getting your own TV show versus playing Sacramento, California is not a hard choice. But what was so great about Jerry is that after the first season of the show, now he's a big TV star. He called me up and he goes, hey, I owe you a gig. And he came back and worked for the same money at my club.
Wow.
It was such an honor to have him back at the club because my place was like a stepping stone to TV and movies and stuff. And to provide entertainment locally. So that was really a lot of fun.
Does it make you feel kind of like, I don't know, paternal over the people that you've helped, like, oh, like it
Well,
has to feel.
paternal's probably a strong word. All these people had talent. All I did was provide them a stage and some guidance as to what works and what doesn't work. The biggest job of any club owner is to provide stage time, which is where people develop. A lot of people don't understand that you don't just wake up in the morning and boom, you're a funny comedian.
Yeah.
You have to write material. It's got to be original material. And then you have to perform it over and over and over to hone it into a really good joke or comedy set. And it takes time and it takes practice, and there's a lot of nuances, and every audience is different, Richard. Sometimes there's 10, 15 people in a Tuesday night audience, or you have 200 people in a Saturday night audience. Both those experiences are not only unique, but they bring new challenges in performing.
Stand-up comedy is growing so big, and so many people are doing producing their own specials now because there's so many streaming platforms. Are there people that you are looking at now that you're like, oh, I wish I could get them at a club because I know they're going to be big?
Yes and no. I mean, now we need to tell your audience that this white stuff on top means that everything we're talking about was a few decades ago. But in the 80s and 90s, I opened my club in August of 1980, long before you were born. And part of my job was to go to San Francisco and Los Angeles and other areas that had clubs and search talent. And one of the things that I realized early on is that I have good taste when it comes to talent. And again, my mom helped me develop that. My father had an amazing sense of humor. I have no talent, but I know talent. And so I was
That's how
able
I
to
feel. Yes.
so I was able to spot people like you and then give them a platform to perform. It just much like we're doing in podcasting.
Mhm.
For decades it was a live stage. I did some television series, I did some concerts. Now as a podcaster, I'm providing a new modern platform where people can showcase their talent. And on the podcast, stand-up comedy or host and MC, you'll hear some really funny material. And what's interesting, Richard, is most of them are not famous, but they're really talented. They're professionals. They've made a living doing comedy, but no one's heard of them. Steve Bruner, Mark Yaffe, or a couple, Tim Bedore, Jeff Jenna. I mean, I can go on and on. There's hundreds of them, but they're all extremely funny. What is great about stand-up comedy, if I might extrapolate a little bit, is it is a kind of industry that never gets old. In other words, some super rich, talented people like Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld, who started at clubs like mine, are back out doing comedy on a regular basis. Now they're rich. They don't need to do this. They are doing it because they love the industry. They love the idea of getting up in front of a room of strangers and making them laugh by engaging with them and entertaining them with. It's really so great. I love being a part of stand-up comedy.
When I lived in San Antonio, I was friends with a ton of stand-ups. I would get to go to shows every week, and I was like, this is the best life ever. Like, you just get to laugh, and it was so fun. And then they all started podcasts during the pandemic, and then realized they talked to all their friends, and then they were like, all right, well, now I don't know what to do, so no more podcasts.
Well, the pandemic and the whole COVID thing really changed, and entertainment took a hit because a lot of those entertainers that have to make a living and feed their children all of a sudden couldn't get on stage. And some of them went into podcasting, some did other things. But I'm just happy we're past it. And with people like you and I, Richard, we can share those people's stories and their talents through our podcast. And I think that in that way, we're providing a really valuable asset to not only the performers who get this platform to work on, but the audiences. I mean, I know, Richard, yours podcast is very successful. Mine, which is now going into its 6th year, has had about 250,000 downloads. It's heard on all 7 continents, over 135 countries. So you get a chance to really reach, it sounds strange, but the world by sharing talent. Now, again, not my talent. I'm the producer. I provide the platform, much like you are with this podcast.
Yep. Yeah. I like to go, look at that person over there. Don't look at me. Look at them. They're much better. And they're probably more attractive. What do you love most about your life right now?
I think that the greatest joy of walking away from customer service, and I love helping people and taking care of people, and I did it for over 50 years in a variety of ways, but I turned off my phone. I no longer, when you're an insurance broker, but even in the comedy business, your phone rings constantly.
Mhm.
And as of January, my phone is off. People have to text me or email me. I don't answer my phone. And that to me, it sounds kind of strange, but that was the real value of
Mm.
retiring, was that I wasn't at everybody's beck and call. So I have my time to myself so I could do projects like children's podcast and comedy podcast, right? I mean, Richard, there's
I
got to
love
be a
that
reason
answer.
why you're out here.
My phone is on silent all the time. And if you don't text me first that you're going to call me, you don't get an answer. And that
But
includes my
don't
mother.
you find what
Uh,
you're doing now as a host and as a podcaster really adds not only value to what your life and what you're doing, but you're also that feeling that, wow, I get to share this with an audience?
yeah, I'd say it almost every day on my show. Like it's such a privilege to be able to connect the audience with someone that they may have never heard of before, or have never seen before. I love that I get to do this every single day.
Well, and you're doing a damn good job. Let's hear it for Richard.
What about the people in the back?
Oh, the people in the back of the room heard this.
Thank you.
Well, I did some research on you, Richard, and you're not just a podcaster. You're a video editor. You're a producer. You do commercials and marketing for people. You have an amazing set. I don't know if people out there in the world realize the talents you're bringing to podcasting with, even having me in this TV screen. I mean, I'm just so impressed with what you've been able to accomplish that if I was anywhere near your company, I would be hiring you to do some amazing work. You do good stuff. Good job, Richard.
See how he's clearly a host because he's deflecting and turning it on me. But this is my show, sir. What is the best way that people can connect with you?
You're the first one to hear about this, Richard.
Get ready.
Ready? Drum roll.
Mhm.
I'm working with a buddy of mine who has a lot more video experience than me because everything I've done has been audio. You don't want to put this face out there.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I am going to be putting together the Tag Team Talent Search. It starts in January, and as of March, when we think actually may even be sooner because we're already getting videos, but we're going to be accepting 3 minutes or less talent videos from the variety arts. That's ventriloquism,
Ooh.
juggling, hypnotism, comedy, solo musicians, whatever, and showcasing them on a new video podcast. So there's a new world for me. And
Uh-oh.
that'll be coming out as the Tag Team Comedy Showcase podcast. It'll be on YouTube, and we're looking forward and we're excited about that. We're already working with a lot of professional entertainers. We've already collected some amazing videos, and the tag team comes from, it's going to be me, and then I'm going to interchange co-host, and we'll
Oh,
be
fun.
commenting on the videos. So it'll be interesting and different.
That'll be really fun. I'd love any winners, send them my way. Any losers, send them my way. If you've got talented people, I gladly will have them on this show.
Well, you may
I
hear
love
from
that.
me because I might need some video help, and you're obviously a master.
I'm not busy, so you let me know. Scott, it's been a pleasure having you here. I thank you so much for stopping by.
Wow, I got to tell you, I used to produce television shows, but I have not been on TV for a couple decades until today. Woohoo!
Oh, welcome back. Welcome
It's so
back.
exciting. Thank you, Richard, for the opportunity, and thank you
Of
for making
course.
my day richer.
Oh, I love it. I appreciate you so much. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to Susan and Scott for being on the show. So if you're talented, get out there. There's no reason not to get your talents out there after watching this show. We have a great show tomorrow. Jonathan Bernstein is here. He wrote a wonderful children's book called Two Goats about the time he spent during COVID with his son. And then Katish Haberfield is also here. She's a poet, an author, and a medium. It's going to be a big, good show tomorrow. So go make your day richer. Go make someone else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.